welcome to Wake Up Missoula. I am your one and only host, Scott Ramp.
And he's not your one and only host because Noelle McAvoy is here, which is me. Which I definitely just talked about myself in the third person, which was weird, but it's fine. I do that all the time. No, Scott, come on, Scott.
Oh, don't push me, Pushy. And this is my trusty sidekick, Pushy.
Yeah, Pushy, Slappy. Scott's got all these ridiculous names for me.
Well, and then all mine is slappable, pushable.
Yeah, slappable,
stabbable, shootable.
Stabbable, yeah.
Yeah.
Punchable. Oh. Well, it's Wednesday. I hope that you guys have all had a good, start to your week. We are halfway through, so that's good.
Yeah, I'm so glad it's Wednesday.
Thanksgiving is a week from tomorrow.
It's like it's the first day. I mean, every Wednesday is the very first day of flagship.
Yeah.
So I start off with flagship at Hellgate High School, and I finish editing half of their superhero video as well. But of course, they're not in the rotation. So I think whose turn is it this week? I did Hellgate 2 weeks ago. Washington Middle School last week. That was the crazy best friend one.
Yeah.
And then this week I'm going to do CS Porter.
Nice.
So it should be pretty good.
How many kids are over at CS Porter for flagship?
I think anywhere between 13 and 15. But then at Washington Middle School, it's about 18 to 20.
Oh, wow.
But I got lots of helpers to help me.
That's good.
And I'm very thankful for them. And it's like, if any kid leaves, it's perfectly fine or whatever. But if a volunteer goes, I will literally be sad. And I will literally, because I love you volunteers. Do not leave me. Ever.
Please don't leave volunteers, because I'm not there to help, so don't leave him. He's flying solo if you do.
Yes, thank you guys. I'll give you a bouquet.
We love Flagship.
Yes, Flagship is
program
great.
is awesome.
But of course, you can find out these Flagship videos and more by logging on to wakeupmissoula.wix.com/wakeupmissoula. So nice. We made you spell it out twice. You can click on the videos tab. This is our more current episode, but it will be updated this afternoon. If you go to videos, you can see the last episode, which will be Monday's episode later. But of course, you can see Flagship Fridays. You can see our drop-in animation of the week. I guess we're going to start doing that.
Yeah, we should.
But moving on, we have our Facebook page. We have our Twitter page, which is just fabulous.
Missoula Community Access Television is on Twitter at MCAT TV Missoula. You can like MCAT on Facebook, as well as go to MCAT.org to find out more information about the TV station.
And I'm going to backtrack real quick before we switch cameras. And I want to go down to this link that I put on here because apparently the University of Montana did like a State of the University address.
Oh,
we
cool.
live streamed it and we had over 400 viewers.
Yay!
And I just needed to take a picture of that, and I think that was pretty cool.
It's just so nice when things that we start and implement work successfully, and then people watch it too.
Yeah, and then
I just love that.
Apparently we have a comment that says, "Oh, the live stream is nice, but there's a but. We cannot see the projected display. We are unsure of. We are getting all the information." Ooh.
Oh, okay.
But I can see it.
Yes, if you
that's
guys...
capture open lens, and that's 25, and it's even shrink down. And there's a full screen on display on our website. If you go to mcat.org and you click on our local live channel, it'll bring you to this little screen, and you'll be able to see any of our live stream stuff. But of course, I don't know if anything's live streaming right now. I don't want to take that risk.
Yeah.
But of course, there's also that full screen access. So if you have a big enough computer screen, which most people have, it's usually like a 15-inch screen. Even the smallest computer screen is at least 15 inches.
That's true. Yep.
And then you have, it has the full screen option on here as well. But of course, that's just a little bit here and there about that. And we have interesting high wind warning happening.
Oh, yes, we do. It's kind of
until 11 a.m.
Oh, until 11 a.m., huh?
So it's happening until the meeting, our little staff meeting here in MCAT.
So it was extremely windy last night. If you guys didn't hear, I got woken up at 2 o'clock in the morning by the wind just thrashing my stuff around, which I thought, but everything was fine.
Everything was fine on my end. I mean, it did rain.
It did. It rained a ton. Yep. And then this morning, the sky is all clear, so maybe it just blew everything out.
But currently, it is 34 degrees outside. It's cold, but it's not going to be too bad. It's going to be a high of 39 today, and then of course you have scattered snow showers and a little breezy, and then then of course tonight it's going to have another 40. It's going to lower the chance of snow, and then throughout the week you can expect your highs to be in the 30s and lows to be the 20s. So we're going to have a little cold snap for a little bit, and of course Friday is going to be partly cloudy.
Nice, yeah. Degrees is getting cooler in temperature, but should be nice either way. So
you know, the nice thing about MCAT is there's a lot of great local programming, and we have some new programming for you guys on tonight, which include the Public Land Law Conference, Part 3. It's on a trilogy. It's like a the quintessential super PAC of like 10 to 12 or infinity episodes.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And then, of course,
just like City Band.
Yep, and then of course we have a partnership for reintegration, and they are talking about people who get out of jail and are trying to get reintegrated into life, because 97% of people who go to jail leave.
Yeah,
because only 3% are like lifers.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, and it's just important, you know. Everyone makes mistakes, and people can turn their life around, no matter how many times you've made a mistake. And a lot
of the circumstances, wrong place, wrong time.
It's good to help the people, you know, integrate back into society, and if they want to make a difference and want to be a hardworking person, then let them. Yeah. That's good. We shouldn't judge them.
You know, okay.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, sorry, I was thinking about something else.
Scott wasn't paying attention, everyone, clearly.
Right.
Again. But I've got some news. So if you guys haven't heard, the University of Montana has got to cut some budgets. And so they are cutting all of the great programs at the university. So they're doing it on a case-by-case basis, pretty much like a program-by-program basis.
And a program has to fight for their right to get money.
Yeah, and they're having to cut about 200 staff. So all the like adjunct professors or all this just like regular staff that help each of these programs run are going to be cut. So they're cutting forestry, they're cutting political science, they're cutting art, they're cutting journalism, they're cutting recreational equipment, they're cutting mechanics, they're cutting a couple other things, they're cutting liberal arts, they're cutting political science. I don't know if I already mentioned that, but they're cutting all of these programs that like make the University of Montana what it is, and they're cutting geography. But
are they cutting any athletics program?
No, they're not. They're not cutting any athletics program at all. Journalism school is so much fun. I have so much fun, and I always leave class feeling like I'm going to make a difference one day, you know. And it's just too bad that they have to cut all these programs that actually make a difference. I'm so upset. So we find out today which teachers get booted, which ones stay, which programs they're going to cut, and I guess I'm glad I'm on my way out. Because, you know, it's a tough issue. And it's not like the journalism program is very big. You know, like if 15 people enrolled now, we wouldn't have to cut anything. So enroll in journalism, you guys. It's just too bad, you know, that good programs like that have to be cut because of all these different factors, and because we're not all. we're
not the place, the destination.
We're not Bozeman.
We're not the destination as much as we'd like to think we are. We have to deal with the realities that certain actions in the University of Montana's last couple of years have truly impacted enrollment at the University of Montana.
They very much have so. Yeah, as well as a few other factors. And whereas Bozeman has got like the science and the technology that the world is going towards, and so people want to go there. Yeah, it's too bad. So I'll keep you guys posted, but today they announced who gets cut, so Friday I'll let you guys know. It's just really bad.
Yeah, that's probably what that meeting was on live.
It was. Yeah, it's the university budget cuts. Yeah, it's too bad. But, you know, such is life, and I guess I'm glad I'm on my way out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I know.
So
that was my news.
But of course, most of the programming that we provide for you guys on our channel is also from the University of Montana. So this Public Lands Law Conference is also from the University of Montana, and who knows whether or not they may or may not get cut on some of their departments.
Yep.
So here are some of the new programs on MCAT starting at 5:30 p.m. tonight.
Or we have a sense of what we maybe need to do now to actually build an ecosystem that can fit within this very complicated management framework and maybe be robust in the face of climate challenges. But more importantly, it ended up becoming a social experiment. I mean, we had no idea that there was going to be this huge community response with this this beach party thing I was describing, which was just incomprehensible. The greatest moment of my legal career was sitting on a hill.
What more can we do as a community? Because quite frankly, it's not the Department of Corrections' responsibility to take care of everybody when they come back to the community. 97% of people return to the community. So what happens then? If we don't reduce barriers and present possibilities for people to succeed, I think we're defeating our purpose. And it's.
Hi, you guys. We've got some events going on for today. So, happening Wednesday, starting at 9 a.m., is 1 Million Cups, Missoula's weekly Wednesday chat over at Montec. They feature different speakers from around town and different businesses from around town. And you can it's like a networking thing too. Yeah, so it starts at 9 a.m. at Montec. Over at Spectrum Discovery area, their Discovery Bench is slime and their brain lab is optics. This is open for visitors of all ages to explore science through engaging exhibits and activities. Over at the Roxy Theater at 11 a.m. today, they're doing a Give Local Missoula orientation. So if you guys remember earlier this year, our Give Local campaign that was going on all across the board of all these different nonprofits that Missoula has. We are the land of nonprofits. We've got about 1,000 of them, close to 1,000, like 900 something. So the Roxy Theater is doing their first nonprofit orientation session. And so, yeah. So they're just going to be talking about Give Local. So that starts at 11. Over at the Missoula Insectarium, they've got their Little Bugs Toddler Time. This is for little ones to learn about insects and bugs through games, hands-on activities, and time with the bug ambassadors. That starts at noon. Parent Yoga is over at Peaceful Heart Yoga. This is for you while your kids play. So they have like a little babysitting area, and then they have an area where they'll be doing yoga. And if you need to tend to your children, you could drop out and hop out, or your kids could do yoga with you. It's just like a good way to do some yoga, and you have time to do it without having to look for childcare.
It's yoga with babysitting.
It sure is. Whoa, where was that voice from? Over at the public library, they've got middle school writers. This is a writing group for grades 6 through 9. Is every Wednesday from 3:30 to 5. Over at the Missoula Art Museum, starting at 4, they've got a teen art workshop. It's called Secondhand Secrets. All materials, pizza, and snacks are provided. It's from 4 to 6. It's free. And it's put on by Marianne Bongiorni, who will be teaching the students new ways to create art using secondhand materials. Over at the Hive, they're doing a skate club. This is put on Missoula Rhythm Rollers, and it's a skate club. You can just go learn how to skate, show off your cool moves, or learn some new ones. It's $2 admission and $2 rent skates, so they're $4, and they have sizes 12 youth, 12 adult. Yeah. Over at the Top Hat Lounge, they've got their Celebrating the Music of Fish. This is their happy hour. And so it's, the jam band Fish. They have like an audio show and trivia and happy hour and everything dedicated to fish, starting at 4:30. The Learning Center at Red Willow has got their meditation for veterans at 5:30. This is in partnership with the American Legion, and it is a free meditation course for veterans, their families, and caregivers. It starts at 5:30. Over at Sentinel High School, they're doing holiday desserts starting at 6. So they're exploring various classic and creative holiday desserts. You do have to bring your own pie tin, though. They're going to have classic caramel apple pie, gingerbread and cream, triple chocolate peppermint trifle, and stained glass snowman cookies. Trifle?
Isn't
Truffle?
usually truffle?
It says trifle, so who knows? And stained glass snowman cookies. So that starts at 6. Sounds great. Over at the Starving Artist Cafe and Art Gallery, they're having their community open mic at 6 p.m. That's off a reserve. And then at the public library, they're having their open jewelry studio holiday bracelets. That's from 6 to 7:30. The Motel Life, this is a discussion over at the Roxy Theater at 6:30 called The Motel Life. And it's a film about homelessness. There'll be a panel discussion following with Michael Moore, which is the Reaching Home director, with Michael Moore, Reaching Home director Aaron Fowle, Paul Varela director. Oh man, these are all crazy. This is just okay. So it'll be having a panel discussion following with some people that know a lot about homelessness in Missoula. Let's just say that. Okay, over at the University of Montana, in the UC Theater, they're having an award-winning Korean film. It's called Ode to My Father. It's at 6:30, and it's about a boy and his family living through the Korean War to present day. The Broadway's got Brains on Broadway trivia, plus all-you-can-eat wings, $10 two-topping pizzas, $6 domestic pitchers, and $50 bar tab to the winning team. It's pretty good, yeah. There's live bingo over at the Lucky Strike Bar and Casino starting at 7. And over at the Public Library, also at 7, is their second Wednesday Missoula Public Library book group. They are discussing the adventures of Augie March by Saul Bellow, 7 p.m. in the boardroom. And then we've got some music going on. So over at the Denison Theater, they're celebrating piano with Philip Aberg. That's at 7:30. The Grouch and Elijah with Charlie Tuna and the Reminders will be at the Top Hat Lounge at 8. Snarky Puppy will be at the Wilma at 8. And they are a Grammy award-winning, 13 bass funk and soul group. So if you guys get any time, I highly recommend checking that out. I have to do homework, otherwise I'd be there. Trivial Beer Suits at the Press Box at 8:30. Karaoke's at the Eagles at 8:30. Karaoke's at the Badlander at 9. There's Sketchy Electronic at the Palace at 9. And Double D Karaoke at the Sunrise Saloon at 9 p.m. Now, that's what I've got for your events for Wednesday. Check out MissoulaEvents.net, the Independent, University of Montana website, or the newspaper. But now we're going to switch gears and go over to Asaph's segment.
This is going to be a little bit different because according to these notes, there's not any information like awards or things like that. So I'm going to have to kind of improvise my way on this one. But we're talking about the all-time classic cartoons called Schoolhouse Rock. Now, I mentioned Schoolhouse Rock in the past, but I didn't talk about the history of it. I just talked about some of the artists that lended their voices, like Blossom Dearie. Remember her? I did a story on her, the lady with the childlike voice, jazz pianist. And Jack Sheldon, the jazz virtuoso trumpeter, lent his voice to Schoolhouse Rock. But basically, Schoolhouse Rock is an American programming series of animated musical educational short films, which later they put into videos. And it aired during the Saturday morning children's program on television on the ABC network back in the 70s. It started from 1973 all the way to 1985, which covered grammar, science, economics, history, math, and civics. So that's kind of a flyover history of the Schoolhouse Rock. And of course, there's 3 people instrumental: George Newell, Thomas Yohe, and of course Bob Dorough. He was a pianist. So let's show this, sorry about that. Let's show this clip here of Schoolhouse Rock.
As your body grows bigger,
your mind must flower.
It's great to learn,
'Cause knowledge is power.
It's Schoolhouse Rockin', the chip off the block of your favorite Schoolhouse Rock. I'm just a Bill.
This is probably one of the most familiar of all the Schoolhouse Rocks ever made.
Whew, you sure gotta climb a lot of steps to get to this Capitol building here in Washington. Well, I wonder who that sad little scrap of paper is.
I'm just a Bill, yes, I'm only a Bill, and I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill. Well, it's a long, long journey to the...
So anyway, this one is so popular that Saturday Night Live even did a spoof off this particular one, where they kept pushing poor Mr. Bill over the steps at Capitol Hill. But originally, this was intended to educate children back in the 70s, and it was so popular it even beat Sesame Street in the awards when this first came out. And everybody has their favorite, like Conjunction Junction, or this one here, I'm Just a Bill. And of course, my personal favorite is Figure 8. But there's so many to choose from, so if you get a chance to go back in time, just look up Schoolhouse Rock. And I'm sorry I couldn't find any info as far as awards and stuff. There's just none available. It just talked mostly about just trivial stuff. Nothing that you could say concrete, like where they went to school or anything like that. But these are the 2 main creators of Schoolhouse Rock, and I'll leave it at that.
Who are? Which are?
George Newell and Thomas Yohe. They're the original creators of Schoolhouse Rock. And this little video I have here just has a bunch of them like lolly, lolly, get your adverbs here, electricity, electricity, interjections, and just tons of others that I
Nice.
wouldn't be able to mention.
Nice. Thanks, Asaph.
Sure.
Yeah, thanks, Asaph.
That was Musical Notes with Asaph Adonai.
And we'll be right back after this art clip by our very own Rick Phillips.
Hello, everyone, again. All right. So, what's going on Thursday? So we start off at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning over at the NAMI Missoula weekly meeting. This is the National Alliance for Mental Health, or So this is a free weekly meeting open to anyone affected by mental illness or interested in learning about NAMI, 902 North Orange, room 109. Spectrum Discovery Area, their Discovery Bench is Little Bits, and the Brain Lab is Synaptic Snow Globes. Starts at 11. And then we hop all the way up to 1:30, and we go back to NAMI, and we go to the Connection Support Group. Starts at 1:30, and it's a free weekly support group for adults living with mental illness. 202 Brook Street, room 210. Reading Education Assistance Dogs over at the Missoula Public Library starting at 3 p.m. This is for children that want to read to someone but don't have anyone to read to, or need someone to read to, or just need some practice and want to read to someone. You can read to a dog. That sounds great. That's all I want to do in my life. I'll just stop going to college and I'm just going to read to dogs.
What if the university cut the funding for Read Dogs? Wait a minute, that's not supposed to do with us. It's like, I don't care, I'm just going to cut it. It was like, you can't cut something that you don't...
Those dogs need jobs too.
You figure out what you want to do when you grow up yet after you finish school?
Read to dogs.
Read to dogs.
Yeah.
I thought you wanted to be a talk show host. You can be a talk show host with the dogs.
I'm just gonna have a talk show, and my dog will be my co-host.
You can teach a dog to speak.
I can.
Like actual some words, because they have a limited vocabulary. A dog's brain is as smart as a 3-year-old child.
Ah.
That's what they say. You gotta watch out for those 3-year-old children. At least they're not terrible 2s.
Oh, thank God.
Terrific 3s.
I don't even want to think about them. Those things. Ugh. Okay. Now we're going to Lego Club. Actually, whatever. Okay, so Lego Club is at the Missoula Public Library at 3:30. Is in the Dragon Rug in the children's area. If you're under 12, you have to have your parents there. At the University of Montana at 3:30 in the Gallagher Business Building in room 123. They are having a President Lecture Series seminar. So it's featuring Marjorie Garber, William R. Keene, and let's see. Okay, so they're speaking on identity theft, psychoanalysis, Shakespeare, and the crisis in humanities. Sweet. That sounds pretty cool. So it's free and open to the public. Over the insectarium, they've got their spider feeding, so they're feeding their Chilean rose hair tarantula. They do this every Thursday at 3:30, so you can check that out and watch it. It sounds so cool.
It costs $5.
I don't care.
Yeah.
gonna
It's like
watch
an entry fee is like $5.
It's really $5?
Yeah, I looked it up because I was thinking about bringing my kids from
Yeah.
Hellgate just to be over there and see a spider
Yeah.
being fed, and it was like $5.
Well, they gotta feed. They need money to feed that spider, I guess.
Yeah, I know, right?
You know.
I wonder if it eats like rats, just like a whole giant rat. Rah! Like in one
Yeah,
bite.
it's just like a rat pit.
No, spiders, they suck up the juice from people.
Cool. Sweet. That's it. That's the idea. Yeah.
I'm like getting further and further away from Noelle.
I know.
No.
All right. So over at the YWCA, this is why I was confused this
It's
morning.
different.
I thought it was the YMCA, and it was like, it's on Broadway, and I was like, that's not where it is, but it's the YWCA. So it is called Inclusion in American Environmentalism. It starts at 4. It's a discussion. It's put on by Ava Holiday, who is who will talk about her professional career as a researcher, anthropologist, and outdoor educator, as well as what Missoula can do to be a more sustainable community.
But what if people miss it?
You can't miss it. If you miss it, you can check out @cat.org because Missoula Community Access Television will be filming it.
What?
I know, I was going to get to that, Scott.
I know.
So
I'm
you
just
can
trying to push you along.
I know, stop. So Ava Holiday will talk about her professional career as a researcher, anthropologist, and outdoor educator, as well as what Missoula community can do to work towards a more sustainable future. In education in the field or even the office. It begins promptly at 4 and will be recorded by MCAT. So if you miss it, it'll be on our program, on our channels, probably in about a month. Yeah. They're at La Grata Bella. There's downtown drop-in wine tasting at 5 p.m. Cost is now $12.50. Minimum of 4 wines and different theme each week. University of Montana, they've got a panel, Montana's Clean Water Future. The Clean Water Rule went into effect on August 28th. Unfortunately, this rule was put on hold nationwide on October 9th, leaving 110,000 miles of streams here in Montana without clear protections on the Clean Water Act. So they are going to be talking about this at a panel at the University of Montana at 6 p.m. tomorrow, not tonight. Treasure State Toastmasters is at Community Medical Center at 6. This is a lively group that helps you increase your confidence, become a better speaker, become a better leader, and communicate more effectively. Oh, this next one's really cool. So over at the FedCred, 3600 Brook Street, they're doing a Solarize Missoula public workshop. So you can learn more about having solar installed in your home. They're expecting the program to begin at 6:15 and at 7:30. They'll have plenty of time to ask questions and speak with the steering committee and participating local installers. Check out solarizemissoula.com. Over at Bitter Gymnastics, they've got their adult TNT. This is for ages 16 and up. And if you want to go in there and just, do a bunch of fun gymnastics, only it costs $8 to drop in. It's from 7:30 to 8:30. We've got some trivia over at the Holiday Inn downtown at the park at 7:30. Over at Big Sky High School, they're having a drama department cabaret performance. Starts at 7:30. It's called Come With Me Now. And then over at the University of Montana, they've got a President Lecturer Series lecture. So this is the evening one. And so it's put on by the same people, Marjorie Garber and William R. Keenan Jr. They're going to be talking about Shakespeare 451. So Shakespeare, Ray Bradbury, and Humanities Teaching Today. That'll be in the University Center Ballroom. So then we've got music tonight. Wild Honey will be at the Real Lounge at 8. Open mic will be at the Eagles at 8:30. Head for the Hills and Trout Steak Revival will be at the Top Hat Lounge at 9. Open mic at the Broadway at 9. Dead Hipster the Badlander at 9. Rock and Karaoke over at the Dark Horse at 9. And Julie Bug and Northern Exposure will be at the Sunrise Saloon at 9 p.m. As always, you can check out MissoulaEvents.net. Check out the University of Montana's website, the Independent, or our newspaper for more events. Yes. But now we're switching gears because it's city council time.
Of course, things are a little more exciting with some city council today, especially since they're going to be talking about the bridge overpass that goes over Reserve Street.
Oh, cool.
A $5 million project, which they were discussing on Monday. But first things first, there was a proclamation that our very own Mayor John Engen gave on Monday's meeting, and here it is.
Proclamation this evening, folks, whereas hospice and palliative care empower people facing a serious or life-limiting illness to live as fully as possible, surrounded and supported by family and loved ones. And whereas hospice and palliative care professionals are dedicated to helping diverse communities access quality end-of-life care and are committed to removing barriers to accessing care. And whereas hospice and palliative care bring patients and family caregivers the highest quality care delivered by an interdisciplinary team of skilled professionals that includes physicians, nurses, social workers, therapists, counselors, health aides, spiritual care providers, and others who make the wishes of each patient and family a priority. And whereas through pain management, symptom control, and emotional and spiritual support, hospice and palliative care providers help allow patients to live fully and make more meaningful moments until the end, surrounded and supported by the faces of loved ones and friends. And whereas hospice and palliative care providers encourage all people to learn more about the options of care and to share their wishes with family, loved ones, and their healthcare professionals. Now, therefore, I, John Engen, Mayor of the City of Missoula and the State of Montana, do hereby proclaim November 2015 as National Hospice Palliative Care Month in Missoula and encourage citizens to observe this month with appropriate activities and programs. And having spent some time with some folks who do that work in the relatively recent past, I can tell you it's a remarkable, valuable, helpful service that's in our community.
All right, so that was that proclamation by our very own John Engen, and he was talking a little more about, it was called National Hospice Palliative Care Month. Ooh.
Palliative?
Palliative? All right.
So.
Whew. All right. So
that's a big word.
Let's move on to the next thing. So the next thing is the City of Missoula wants to increase the use of public art in Missoula from 1% to 1.5%. So the general fund, they put it, instead of putting aside 1%, they're going to increase it by 0.5%. That's a 50% increase in funding that they're going to throw to the public art to make Missoula. So I imagine that the 1% was used to make all those those street light boxes and power boxes to be also great and blah, blah, blah.
That's what I would think too.
And
yeah.
I don't know what they're going to do next. What's
lighting.
next? Because they just, I think the most recent art installment was at the Rattlesnake Pineview Park.
Yeah. What about Silver Park? Was that?
That was a little. They've done that. They've done a couple presentations like statues and stuff. So
nice.
They always look for bidding and that kind of stuff. So you always look at that. But of course, Marnie Rabine has a little more information about this as well. She's the city clerk for Missoula, the city of Missoula.
So the Public Art Committee was actually established by Mayor John Toole a long time ago, but the Public Art Committee and the Percent for Art program was formalized in city ordinance in 2002. The Public Art Committee is a 9-member committee of extremely hardworking volunteers. This is a really hardworking board, and their mission is to develop and maintain the city's public art collection. They're charged with developing a process to create, develop, and maintain the city's public art, and to review, advocate, and develop public art projects that are located in the public domain for Missoula, and they do.
All right, so the next little bit I'm going to talk about is that the Marty goes, she goes into more detail about, but with the ever-expanding city and arts community, this seems like a small deferral of funds to put aside for the arts. So, and then of course, Marty explains how much money they would have to put a cap on this. So this is what she talks about in that.
A fund that would be used exclusively to maintain public art. And the goal here is to establish a maintenance fund for the city's public art collection. If the maintenance fund exceeds $200,000, then that 0.5% may be applied to artwork, but we're nowhere near raising topping up to $200,000 in that fund at this time.
All right, so the next part, oh man, I keep on vamping. Okay, of course, they talked a little more about this, and of course, the motion did carry, so it got passed. So I think this is a little great program, increasing the arts, and it's always been 1% deferral. It's kind of like the city of Missoula is always like, okay, let's just set some money aside for it, and then they actually legitimized it back in 2002, like she said. But before that, it was like a long time ago, and people were just like, let's put more arts and stuff like that. So they just did it without actually making it like an official policy or a motion type thing. They just actually just did it. Like back in the good old days of Montana where people just did things. Okay, so the next...
Yeehaw!
All right, so our next topic is a little ordinance which would allow for the Thomas Mar Bar to build outwards a patio. So, of course, the significance of this particular topic isn't necessarily the Thomas Mar Bar, but it's the idea that less government regulations in terms of streamlining it and sending this particular idea and process and patios and stuff through the developmental services through the city of Missoula. Basically, what the city of Missoula appointed the developmental services to do in the first place. Basically, this eliminates approval from the city of Missoula's city council members to approve this. And of course, here is Doug Harvey from Developmental Services to explain a little more of their modify the right-of-way encroachment.
We made it administrative to approve encroachments. Since then, issues have come up where the city council would like to be involved in a review of encroachments, which we're fine with, and so we added a couple of sentences to the ordinance that says the city of Missoula, the city council shall review all encroachments that may impact existing multimodal traffic patterns, including but not limited to significant interruption or redirection of pedestrian, bicycle, and vehicle travel. And Alex staff asked that transit be included in that list too. And or removal or relocation of parking spaces. The city council must approve said encroachment by resolution. Encroachments for sidewalk cafes are considered under Title 1218.
Okay, so basically what he's explaining is that the right-of-way encroachment is basically, imagine you're walking down the street, you're walking down the street here. I'm actually going to do like a whole model. So you're walking down the street and you say, oh look, there's like a piano in the middle of the road.
Oh, whoa, what is this doing?
I was like, if it's blocking, then that totally goes against the right-of-way encroachment. But if the piano is like permanently stationed there, but they build around it for a pathway to people to walk around, then that's perfectly cool. That's basically what this does.
Okay, so they would have to have a pathway for people to walk.
Yes,
but
that's called the right-of-way encroachment.
Okay. And so would they do it like on the road? Because aren't they trying to extend their?
They're trying to extend their patio, lot, so right? They're going to eliminate like 4 parking spots. 2 or no, I keep on believing that it's a couple parking spots in front of the Thomas Mar Bar. 4, So what they're going to try to do is they're going to try to extend it, and I can totally see like 2 different patios.
I can see that.
Like a patio here and a patio there, and you just go right through it, which basically,
I mean,
you'd walk past people in the Thomas Mar Bar. I don't even know how they're really going to do it.
I don't know.
It's interesting. I think it's just going to force people to go around. Kind of like what they do with Plonk. They have that out, and that basically covers half the block. And it's like, come on, people.
It's true.
It's like we have a lot of sidewalk, but it's like one of these kind of projects. Basically, I don't know. The sidewalks are a public utility and public right of way, so they have to go through the city. And what this ordinance, small ordinance, mind you, they called it a small ordinance, but it is a very interesting thing to think about and to consider. If you haven't been following, of course, the small ordinance is basically says that the city no longer needs to approve the right-of-way encroachment project, so the project can be streamlined, as Doug Harvey said when we first started talking about this. This basically gives more wiggle room and lets government to approve projects in the downtown areas. But you will now have to go through developmental services of the city of Missoula. The motion passed with no opposition, of course. Yeah, I mean, it's just something I'm just...
They'll just have to figure it out.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm curious to see.
The one other board that I wouldn't mind completely eliminating is the design review board.
Yeah.
Just saying, because it's like, they go to these meetings and they just say, is this sign too big? I was like, listen, you have to be regulated. We want to be able to make sure that this sign is big enough. It's like, well, you guys can't make it a certain amount of sides by law, and it's like completely pointless. It's like developmental services, or like the secretary is just like, okay, you have to make sure that this is this. It's like, oh, can I do this? Okay, we'll submit it for approval. Then they bring it back to you. It's like, your thing has been approved.
Okay. Okay.
You don't need to have like a whole meeting about it with like 6 members talking about the size of a sign. So that's my own thing against the design review board. Only because I've filmed it a couple times, and I'm thinking to myself, it's like, they should totally put this in developmental services and just streamline this.
Yeah, and just cut some money. Yeah, and save some money.
Yeah. But of course, that's my own opinion that don't reflect
Missoula Community Access Television, Charter Communications, or the City of Missoula.
Yes. I just love saying that.
I know, me too.
So the next person, and of course, the South Reserve Streets Urban Renewal District, which includes the Pike Bed Bridge over Reserve and sidewalks and trail improvements in the area. And this is a interesting topic, even though they're talking about building a pedestrian bike bridge over Reserve Street to help with the congestion of traffic.
Yeah, we'll see.
So this is what Marilyn Marler had to say in terms of some of the controversy that's been going around back and forth.
The $5 million bridge over Reserve Street has been a little bit controversial in some places and some groups, but I really support this project, and it's not controversial at all to me. This is an important connection. Yes, it's great that it connects the bicycle trail, the Missoula to Lolo Trail, but the part of Missoula in Ward 6 and that part of Ward 5 between Russell and Reserve Street, we don't have very much parkland. And the street system is kind of messed up, and it's really hard to get on foot or on bike across Reserve Street. And we're about to build out a really big park just on the other side of Reserve Street, and it would be a real shame if people in some of these lower income neighborhoods without parks that you could walk to would have to get in their car and drive a short distance across Reserve Street to feel safe getting to a park.
All right, so the next person I'm going to bring up is our very own City Council member, Alex Taft, and he talks a little bit more in terms of the cost and also, more importantly, did I mess that up? Oh, ignore that. But of course, okay, so this is, I want to think this is Alex Taft. I really do. Yeah, it is Alex Taft. Whew! All right, so Alex Taft, and he's talking about not only is it a benefit for the bike ped people who are going over the bridge, but for the drivers as well. And this is what Alex Taft had to say.
Although this is called a pedestrian and bicycle bridge, it's actually being built for the cars and drivers on Reserve Street. If you noticed in the motion, it says the permits and agreements from the Montana Department of Transportation. That's what that's all about. They have the ability to not approve a crossing across Reserve Street for bicycles and pedestrians. There are many options at grade put out by the National Association of City Transportation Officials to provide at-grade crossings for pedestrians and bicycles at Reserve Street. But I just want to make clear that this is for the thousands of cars that travel down Reserve Street over which this bridge will pass.
Mr. Weaselhead on the motion.
All right, so that was Alex Taft on that as well, and then we have our very own Patrick Weaselhead, and he says that this is at the very beginning, he didn't really like the idea of it, and I can see that a lot of people don't like the idea of a bridge at first, but this is how he evolved from a no to a yes.
When people talk about $5 million, they think about the tax base that there's going to be impacted. But looking at the overall aspect of this and being at the groundbreaking ceremony for the park in Fort Missoula, I expect this trail to be heavily used down the road. But I'm going to encourage my counterparts in the city to make sure that they have some sort of counters on that to see the usage of it, because right now I'm hearing from my colleagues saying, and my ward residents saying, not many people are going to use that bridge. So if we can do that down the road, I'm going to support this effort.
All right, so our next quote is from our very own objective voice, Adam Hertz, and he has something to say about the bridge. this is what he had to say.
This is about convenience for both pedestrians, bicyclists, and vehicle traffic. I don't think that an at-grade crossing is an appropriate alternative, though I don't think a $5 million bridge is the appropriate alternative. I think there's a very appropriate compromise, which is an underground crossing, which would cost a fraction of the $5 million and be a perfectly good alternative to be convenient and safe for pedestrians, cyclists, and drivers. If you read the MRA board minutes from May 28, 2014, the financial analysis done on this bridge was quite questionable. At the time, they were using a $4 million cost estimate. They assumed 1,000 crossings per day for 100 days that the crossing would be usable for a 40-year life expectancy, so that the bridge would come out to a cost of roughly $1 per crossing. The project engineer corrected that the life expectancy would be closer to 80 years. But at the time, a manual count at Reserve and Brooks noted that there were 11 crossings per day. So that's a far cry from the 1,000 crossings that were used in the estimates. I'm certain that 11 crossings is going to be an inappropriate and unrealistic number with the new trail connection, but it doesn't seem any less absurd to me than 1,000 crossings per day. So this project seems to be lacking real financial analysis and a real cost benefit, and I'm just not convinced that a bridge crossing is worth the extra several $million in the benefit that you might see over an underground crossing, and I'm going to oppose the motion.
All right, so
well, and we talked about
the underground
bridge.
stuff,
Yeah.
because there is an underground tunnel.
Okay.
It's the Milwaukee Trail, and it's just off of 3rd Street. But another thing, it's also in the hill. It's that little up that goes up a little bit, then it goes down, and then that's a perfect way to make a tunnel. But earlier up on Reserve, kind of like the area where they want to make it, like Largemont, Old Highway 93. They kind of want to connect Old Highway 93 to the other side.
Okay.
I think it would be that's kind of like the idea where they put it. But most of the crossings happen at South and Reserve. Whoa. But then again, South and Reserve is so busy.
Yeah,
it's like the worst.
busy.
You never want to cross as a pedestrian on South and Reserve. You just need to go up the street, because there is a light specifically for crossing, and that's the light that's right in front of CS Porter.
Yeah, and so I would think that a tunnel would make more sense, especially for pedestrians and bikes, just because of our elements. Like if it's raining or it's snowing, you can get under that tunnel and be safe for a little bit. But I guess the homelessness issue would be another one too.
Well,
they don't. In there?
They want to. Well,
are they thinking about that?
They what they did for the solution on the homelessness, staying up at the passing on the north side. Bike pedestrian bridge thing is that they put up rabbit-proof fences over a certain area, so they would not find any crevices to sneak in or whatever.
Makes sense, yeah.
But anyways, there was a person in the audience who agreed with Adam Hertz, and of course the mayor had to shush him almost instantly. And this is
Fine.
This is it.
Sir, we will not have any more comment tonight, or I'll ask you to leave the meeting. You can comment in order and be respectful the way the rest of this audience is. It will be as soon as this group is done talking. Thank you.
All right. I just need to show that thing because I see that we do have a little more time left, so I just kind of wanted to show that just for the sake of showing it, because some of these meetings can be very interesting. Of course, Adam Hertz makes a good point. Especially in terms of this is probably the one thing that me and Noelle have agreed on throughout the course of the last couple of months. And because Adam Hertz has always been opposed to a lot of unnecessary government spending.
He has.
And some necessary government spending. Yep. He's been opposed for the whole water trial and everything. Mm-hmm. But of course, okay, so the water evaluation, they had commissioners come in from either side, and they finally settled on a number of how much they want to sell the water company for.
How much?
I want you to guess.
$90 million.
Close.
Oh, yeah?
$85 million.
Oh, wow.
Basically in the middle of exactly what the city of Missoula is hey, we want to buy it for $42 million. And then the people, they want to sell it for $142.6 million.
So we can buy it for $85 million?
yeah, we have the option, and now the city's like looking it over and see if they can have the funding or budget. But regardless of that, the Carlisle Group and whatnot is going to another evaluation trial. I think they want to do it more on their own terms rather than through the terms of the judge, Karen Townsend, or whatever. I don't know. But they got approval for another evaluation by trial by jury, like, you know, jury people. Like,
sounds like the Carlisle Group is a bunch of slime balls. And I don't like them.
Yeah. Oh, anyways, yeah, I mean, that's basically...
Can't come on our show.
That's basically it on the, like,
okay,
it's like a bridger channel. Like, I have a couple public comments.
Motion passed with opposition from Adam Pertz on the bridge alone.
Yeah, but so of course there was 2 Urban Renewal District bonds in this thing. Adam Pertz did approve the first one, which was a $1.7 million bond, which basically mostly went to the trail improvement and kind of stuff. But the bridge alone is going to be $5 million.
And they're going to do that. That
passed.
Huh.
The only Adam Pertz just was in opposition, and I mean most of them were just like already for this from the very beginning. They wanted this bridge to happen, and yeah.
I just wonder how much research they do, or if they just like get something in front of them and they're like, looks good, yeah, I'll say yes.
Well, they have to do a lot of research, and plus they have to come up. You know, if you look on the website, I was gonna get to this in a minute, anyways. So you can go to the website. If you go to the city council website, it's www.ci.missoula.mt.us, or you can type in City of Missoula in a search engine. It brings up this wonderful page, and you're able to go to your government. And what I always do is I can go to agendas, webcasts, and minutes.
Yep.
And you could...
Takes you to this screen. It'll pop up in a minute. Yeah. Takes a little second.
And then, of course, you can find any meeting that happened in the last week? 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's got stuff from the 8th all the way up until today.
You can also even go through the little Search Missoula tab there as well. But, of course, all you got to do is just click on Agenda. I always click on Action Summary because it basically gives me cheat notes on exactly what happened on each motion. But let's just go to Agenda. It brings you up this nice little page with a video in the top right-hand corner, and you're able to click on any of these things to see exactly... I'll put it on mute because there's probably going to be some playing if I hit one of these tabs. So you hit on one of these tabs, and it basically kind of explains. I'll go to the...
So the blue links is the ones that you click.
Yep.
And then the words underneath it give it a little explanation about it.
So if you click on one of these links... It's the approval of 2 bond resolution for the Urban Renewal District, which is basically what this whole bridge thing was about. And you go, let's see, blah, 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 referral, and it brings you to this new page, and it basically tells you all the information, action required, approved 2 bond resolution, Urban Renewal District 3, with one being fund for the construction of the South Reserve Street Trail Crossing, and the other one fund to construction remaining curb and sidewalk renewal. $1.7 million for sidewalk.
Wow.
Interesting. But that's me just being skeptical. And you can find out all this stuff, yeah. And it basically gives you the background information, what they want to approve, and certain things. And of course, they have committee reports and minutes. They've been talking about this for a while now, since last spring.
They have.
There's always a couple things I like to tack myself onto and see how it evolves over time. I guess the new thing I'm going to be talking about is the North Side Urban Renewal Infrastructure Improvement Area.
We'll see how that
between
goes.
Scott and something.
Yeah, Scott and something.
Yep.
Yeah.
Something Street.
Something Street.
Something Street.
It's over on the north side. I don't know. It's super obscure. I don't think you guys have been there. But yeah, the City of Missoula, if you want to find out more information, just check out City of Missoula. It's got all the city council and everything public.
And things that are happening in the City of Missoula. But more importantly, you can find out more information about our very own special show, Wake Up Missoula, by logging on to wakeupmissoula.wix.com/wakeupmissoula. So nice we made you spell it out to us. You can also look for us on our search engine, any search engine, because we just pop up because we're that into the community. You can also like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter.
You can like Missoula Community Access Television on Twitter, as well as MCAT on Facebook.
As long as the local live as well. That's also on.
And you can check out mcat.org. Go to our homepage where you can, like us on Facebook.
Again.
Check out all of our videos. You can check out current videos, past videos, anything that we've done.
Yep.
On Saturdays, we like to remind you guys that on Saturdays we do our drop-in stop-motion animation camp with Scott, Mason, and I. It's from 1 to 5. It's $10. Just swing your kid on by and drop him off, and we have a great time.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's been doing it for about a month now. It's been very successful.
Oh, yeah. We have a lot of great hardcore kids, and then,
Yeah.
of course, we get a couple new kids here and there.
Trickle in.
But, it's great. It's $10 for drop-ins, and if you want to do a half day, it's $5. It's basically babysitting plus.
And your parents can come too. Like over the weekend, we had one of our kids. Her dad came, and it was really fun.
And he hung out with us, and he showed some of his videos, and we all just kind of hung out and made stop animation videos and some live action videos.
Yeah, it was really fun.
We're only as good as how creative we can be and how the kids are creative.
Yeah.
So.
And some days we're really creative, other days we're tired.
But since we do have a little more time, do you want to show that like the 10-second video that I made?
Yes, let's
just
see a
show that.
10-second video
show
that Scott made.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have about a minute left.
So
tell us about this.
I utilized green screen technology
We have a green
to
screen,
implement
it's awesome.
The use of 3 different elements. One to make one a little bit bigger, another thing to make something smaller, and another thing to impose it as a prop building in the building as well.
So this was over the weekend on Saturday with some of our drop-in camps kids.
Here it is.
Oh, this cat is like killing me.
Yeah, that's
Children
that.
are very crunchy. Turns out.
It's the bones.
I would have no idea though.
I just used the simple chew audio
chewing,
and and it
was
sounded
so
like chips.
easy.
It sounded like chips. It's like
We showed his mom that and she loved it.
Yeah.
She was like, "You're very crunchy." It was pretty cute. But yes, I do believe that's the end of our show. So it's Wednesday, you guys. Have a good rest of your week.
Yeah.
We will see you back here Friday morning. So for Wake Up Missoula, my name is Noelle McAvoy.
And I'm Scott Ramph.
All right, and we've got Asaph, Adonai, eventually.